Hey, what do you think happened to Dwayne Haskins? I mean, you watch him in college, you go, man, this
Yeah.
guy's going to be a star. He's picked like 15th overall, and what happened?
I mean, I think, quarterback position in this league is not easy to play. And, we've had some adversities with coaching changes and changes as well. But I think he just didn't necessarily be able to get his rhythm. But I think what he always showed was he had that ability to make those plays. But the thing in the NFL is just that consistency. And you try to help him as much as you can. And, I wanted to be that guy that he can lean on, that guy that he could come to at any point, not just on the field, but off the field. But, I think he has a new start now. From what I'm hearing, he's doing pretty well. So at the end of the day, I still, like my brother, and I support him. And I think he's going to turn his situation around. He still has the ability, but if he could continue to grow as a quarterback, mentally and everything like that, I think he'll be able to show what the promise that he was drafted at that high position.
All right, well, welcome into the Chris Collinsworth podcast. Today we have one of the best young wide receivers in the game from the Washington football team, Terry McLaurin, out of Ohio State, a proud Buckeye. But before we get there, I have to remind you about all the awesome products at PFF that we have on the shelf right now. And it is time. It is the beginning of football season. Here we go. The fantasy season is going to be up, and with a PFF Edge subscription for just $9.99, you get access to PFF's Fantasy Football Draft Guide, the player rankings and projections from 7 of the best analysts in the world, including Nathan Yankee, who finished 3rd in the Fantasy Pros ranking competition last year. Way to go, Nathan. All of PFF's locked article content on our website, and cheat sheets for your fantasy draft, which I certainly will be using, and so much more. Again, that's PFF's Fantasy Suite for just $9.99. Draft smarter than all those suckers in your league this year with PFF. And now we are on to Terry and some great conversations here, not only about Ryan Fitzmagic and all the things that he's going to bring to this passing game of the Washington football team, but also a very interesting conversation at the end of it about the COVID vaccinations. And Washington had been one of those teams that had sort of struggled to get to a higher percentage, and now they're doing a little bit better with that. But just what that means inside the locker room of a National Football League team with some of the rules that the NFL has put down. So here we go, off with Terry McLaurin. All right, well, welcome in one of the really budding young stars in the league, Washington football team. I always have to say that slowly. Washington football team's Terry McLaurin, the ex-receiver. I was watching some of your tape today, reminded me back of your days of the Buckeyes, and then I started thinking, well, hell, Washington now is all Buckeyes all the time at this point. You got Curtis Samuel in there. You got Chase in there. Yeah, you guys are loaded with Buckeyes now.
It's fun. It's definitely fun to get some familiar faces with Curtis being my roommate, and I was there with Chase while he was, killing the Big Ten and the rest of the country. So it's cool to have like 3 like-minded guys who have a history of winning and just are 3 tenacious guys who like to do whatever it takes to help the team win. So it's cool to have that familiarity.
Well, you've become one of our favorites here at PFF. I have people talking about you all the time. Sam Monson may be your biggest fan. I think he picked you out the earliest of anybody. But it's been a great run, and you've done it without a great string of quarterbacks to back it up. I mean, I was going over some of the numbers last year, and of course, Dwayne Haskins was there, who you knew well. And then he was let go. So he starts the first 4. Kyle Allen comes in. Taylor Heineke comes in. Alex Smith was in there playing. I'm like, oh, my God. And then you guys go out and damn near beat Tampa in the playoffs. And who knew, right? Who knew Tampa was going to be the trained killer after that? So it has to give you guys some confidence coming into this year.
Oh, definitely. I think we had a lot of adversity last year, especially at the quarterback position. And, being a receiver, that can be challenging. But I just tried to, make their job as easy as possible. Being a former receiver, how hard it is to get that connection. And then with Taylor, I remember going into that game against Tampa, and we hadn't got any reps because I was out the whole week with high ankle sprains. So our first reps were in the game, but he made the game super easy for the guys out there because he knew his stuff. Like, guy coming off the street, being able to compete at that level that he did, giving us a chance to win that game was pretty dang on cool. But I think, we gave them a good run for their money last year. I know we weren't expected to get to that game and even win our division, but we just try to continue to stack days and continue to get better. But we have our eyes set on bigger goals this year, but we know it starts in training camp. So we're grinding real hard to improve on what we did last year.
Yeah. Talk about you just a little bit. You come out as a 3rd round pick and, expectations for a 3rd rounder or, whatever they are. I was a 2nd rounder, so I'm not insulting you here, but things kind of popped right from the beginning. What was it that you took out of Ohio State or that you could do that maybe surprised people in the NFL?
Yeah, you just got to be ready when your number is called. Coach Meyer always preached that at Ohio State. And I tell people all the time that, there's only one ball that could go around. You got guys like Paris Campbell and Curtis Samuel and Mike Thomas, J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. We had great tight ends, and the list goes on and on. There's only one ball that could go around, and I became really good at my role on the team. I was a dominant special teams player, and I was our deep threat, and I tried to do that to the best of my ability. But I knew if I got the chance to play in the NFL that I could show that I can be a number 1 receiver. I truly believe that in my heart being at Ohio State. So Coach Hartline really, coached me up really hard my last few years there. And, I really started to refine my technique to be ready for the next level when that opportunity came. So, I got invited to the Senior Bowl, and I wanted to prove that I could be a dominant receiver. And I felt like I did that. I knew the measurables were going to be there because, I was always a fast guy who could run high and lift a lot of weights. But I just wanted to show I could play football at a high level. And Coach Gruden and the staff at the time drafted me, and I came in, and I wanted to prove not only – I think everybody coming in thought I was just going to be a special teams guy. And, being in the NFL, I was just happy to be here. So if that was going to be my role, I was going to do that to the best of my ability. But I came in here to win a job. And, thankfully they gave me the opportunity to do that. And I learned from the vets that we had at the time. And I just wanted to take the ball and keep it rolling after that and continue to build on that momentum that I've had.
It's interesting as an ex receiver, you play on the ball a good bit, but you're also in the slot a lot. Right. And watching some of your plays, but your catch and run ability is really something. I think you were 6th in the NFL as far as yards after the catch a season ago. Did you play running back in high school? Did you play quarterback? Where did all that come from?
I did play a little running back growing up, but, my dad was like, you possibly have a longer career playing receiver than taking all those hits playing running back. But I think it's the mindset that I have once I get the ball in my hands. I want to catch and secure the ball first and foremost, and then I don't do a lot of dancing. I'm trying to either run by guys or if there's a point of attack, I'm trying to run through you. And that's kind of my mentality. And so I kind of have a plan. As soon as I catch the ball, I get upfield and I want to hit it as hard as possible. So I think our offense does a good job of getting our guys in space, so that helps a lot as well. But I think it's just the mindset that I take. As soon as I get the ball in my hands, you could turn a 5-yard gain to a 20-yard gain. And these short routes you could turn into touchdowns, which can be backbreakers for defenses.
All my Buckeye guys are the same way, though. Curtis is the same way. Samuel, I was watching against you guys in the game last year. He had a couple of sweet runs. I mean, they motioned him back in the backfield, let him play running back, and sort of the versatility of you two guys alone is going to make for a fun offense this year.
Oh, most definitely. I think having a guy like that who is even a little faster than I am, 40-wise, I think that really helps stretch our offense vertically and horizontally. You have to respect both sides of the field. His ability to stretch the ball, his ability to do what he can with the ball in his hands. He's so dynamic. He's probably one of the most dynamic players I've ever played with, even to this day, just what he can do with the ball in his hands. And, the number one thing that I've noticed, because it's been a few years since we played together, is he practiced a little bit during OTAs, just see how refined he's gotten as a receiver, which is only going to help our offense even more. The fact that he could play outside, he could play in the slot, he could take handoffs and pitches and things like that. I think that'll really take the stress off of everyone, as well as myself, to be able to just spread teams out and make plays. But we're just trying to get that chemistry down right now with the quarterbacks that we have, and we're trying to build that as strong as we can leading up to the first game of the season.
Well, your world's about to change with Fitzmagic coming in there, because all those little slants and sticks and different things that you were running last year, I don't think that's the way it's going to be. A really good friend of mine used to coach Fitzmagic, right. And he said he has never seen a ball that he didn't think he could fit in there. No matter where it is, if there is a 1 foot opening, like at the carnival or something, he's believing he's going to get that sucker in there. And a guy like you got to love that. Maybe some 50-50 balls you didn't get last year. I mean, this offense has a chance to really flip on its ear, doesn't it?
I think so. I think just the scheme that we run, but just the quarterback that we have in Fitzpatrick is his ability just to have – he gives us all confidence. And he's seen all there is to see. I feel like, he's been in so many different systems, played with so many different great receivers. I think that only helps me as still a young player continue to grow into this role of being a number one receiver. But I love his ability to be able to get us in the right play when we're at the line. He doesn't really necessarily have us going against bad leverage. If there's bad leverage, he knows how to adjust that route to help us get into the right plays and the right situations for those coverages. But also he's going to give us chances. And as a receiver, that's all you can ask for. I've been just trying to preach to our group that he's going to continue to give us chances, but we got to come down with the ball, because not only does that give him more confidence in us, but that gives Coach Turner the confidence to continue to call those shots, which I feel like has been missing a little bit in our offense. So I'm excited for what he's bringing to the table. He's a great leader, and he's just a fun guy to be around. I see why he's been a team favorite by so many people. He's just a great guy in the locker room, and he knows how to have fun and give us chances out there.
Is he still wearing all those Hawaiian shirts?
It's like you in our building, man. Yeah, he'll go out there and practice, and he'll practice his butt off, and then he'll come in with the short shorts, the flip flops, and the Hawaiian shirts. And I haven't seen him wear the same one twice, so I can only imagine what his closet looks like. But he likes to have fun. It's crazy how you could just flip the switch and just be cool and hang out with the rest of us.
He's keeping Tommy Bahamas alive, I think. It's got to be what he's doing out there. Is it pretty cut and dry now? Because, Kyle Allen had a nice little run for you guys. Certainly Taylor in the game against Tampa played one of the best games we saw during the course of the playoffs. Do you get the feeling that it's Ryan's job to lose and maybe one of those other guys fit in? Is that kind of where you are right now?
I think they're doing a good job of getting Taylor reps with the ones as well. I've gotten some good reps in with him this camp. Fitz is obviously taking majority of the first team reps, so I would like to think that he's a starter. But I think the luxury that we do have is we have guys. All three of them have experience. All three of them, the Taylor and Kyle, have experience in this offense, and they're ready if their number is ever called. So. I think that's the luxury of what we have, but I think Fitz is the lead guy right now. And I think as a receivers, we just want to try to build connections with all of them, because as you can see with the long season, anything can happen. So you got to be ready at any moment.
Yeah. Tell me about my guy, Diami Brown. I kind of pumped him up a little bit during the draft process. I'm like, come on, man, this guy's getting behind everybody. He doesn't catch everything, but he's at least getting open. How might he fit in with you guys?
I think Diami does a great job of he makes playing receiver look so smooth and easy from a guy who's come into a new system, new way we do things in the NFL. I think he has a great feel of how to play receiver. He knows how to get in the zone and throttle it down. He knows how to separate against man. And just his ability to stretch the field has been very cool to see from a guy like myself who also wants to try to do those things. I think he can add that to our offense. I think he has the ability to play in the slot and at all three at the other two outside positions as well. So Diami's doing a really good job. He's trying to learn as much as he can. And, as a third-year receiver, I'm trying to help him out as much as I can too, because the better he is, the better we all are. And, we're all making plays out there that you don't know where it's coming from. So he has a lot of potential, and I think he can really help us this year.
It's unbelievable. A third-year guy is now the veteran voice of reason in the locker room. Hey, what do you think happened to Dwayne Haskins? You watch him in college, you go, man, this guy's going to be a star. He's picked like 15th overall, and what happened?
I mean, I think, quarterback position in this league is not easy to play. And, we've had some adversities with coaching changes and changes as well. But I think he just didn't necessarily be able to get his rhythm. But I think what he always showed was he had that ability to make those plays. But the thing in the NFL is just that consistency. And you try to help him as much as you can. And, I wanted to be that guy that he can lean on, that guy that he could come to at any point, not just on the field, but off the field. But, I think he has a new start now. From what I'm hearing, he's doing pretty well. So at the end of the day, I still, like my brother, and I support him. And I think he's going to turn his situation around. He still has the ability, but if he can continue to grow as a quarterback, mentally and everything like that, I think he'll be able to show what the promise that he was drafted at that high position.
Last year had to be among the strangest years of all time. You guys start 1-5. Your coach is going through cancer treatments. You've been through 4 different quarterbacks. Aaron Donald jumps on the back of Alex Smith, and I about passed out myself when I saw it. Describe what happened, because you guys go from this 1-5 start, new coaching staff, COVID, you can't spend time practicing together, so obviously things are going to be tough. But what happened at that 1-5 point to flip the switch and then lead you guys to the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think anybody panicked. I think it started with Coach Rivera. He always came to the building mentality that he's trying to prepare us to win a game, and he never really felt sorry for himself. So as a player, at least in my eyes, I think it not forced me, but it allowed me to see the game through a different lens and how thankful and fortunate you are to play this game at such a high level. But if he's going through cancer treatment, I have no reason to not come and give my all every single day. And I just think we needed to work out the little kinks. I think we were getting up in games, but we weren't finishing. So we'd have a slow start or we'd have a pretty poor finish in the fourth quarter. And we just wanted to put together 4 quarters of football. That's what he was always telling us, Coach Rivera, is just not to beat ourselves. And I think having Alex there helped a lot, a guy that's been there and seen it all as well. And he brought a calm to our offense that was really needed at the time. But I think, we just wanted to continue to basically contend in every game and see what happened at the end. I think our defense really led us, gave us a lot of turnovers, put us in great positions to have success offensively. We just wanted to capitalize. But I think, once we started finishing games better, I think that's when things started to turn around. And then we started to have better practices and just continue to build on what we were momentum. And we knew the division was up for grabs. So we never felt like we were out of it. I think nobody panicked and we continued to work until the tide turned.
Yeah, it's an interesting year going forward this year. I wanted to ask you first about Urban. Urban goes to Jacksonville. He's, to the best of my knowledge, in 17 years, I don't think he ever had a losing year in college football. Now he goes down there with Tim Tebow in tow, who might make the team. He might make that team as a tight end down there. How do you think Urban will transition into being an NFL coach?
I mean, I think he's a winner. And I think one thing he's always said at Ohio State was winners win. And I think winning and losing is one thing that he's always preached. It's a very clear line. Either you're winning or you're losing. And I think his mentality to how to win is even more important than just the end result. So I know those guys are going through intense training, not just on the field, but in the weight room. Their mentality on how they approach each and every game, how they prepare, how they take care of their bodies. I know they're just doing probably something that those players have never experienced before if you've never played under Coach Meyer. But he takes the game from a cerebral level and it translates to the football field. And I think at this level, guys will take to that because at the end of the day, we all just want to win and we want to do what's necessary to win. And I think he's been able to do that at the highest level in college. And I think he'll continue to do that in the NFL.
Yeah, as I look forward to this season with you guys, of course, everybody's looking at Dallas, and Dallas has all those offensive weapons. They get Dak back. They've got the 3 receivers. They get their offensive line back. But you guys went down there and just ran through them the last time you saw them. As you start thinking about the division, is Dallas still front and center in your mind?
I think everybody's, the front and center. I think Philly gave us some tough games. We got swept by the Giants, so there's nobody we should look over. And then Dallas is coming back with a new defensive scheme. Dak's back, obviously. He's the engine that drives that team. So I think this is going to be a very interesting year again in the NFC East, and we're going to see who comes out on top. But those games are usually slugfests over my last 2 years of playing. Those games come down to the fourth quarter usually, and you never know who's going to win it. It's the team who usually executes the best at the end of the game who comes out on top. So there's been some great free agent additions to all teams in our division, and I think it's going to be a better division than it was last year as a whole, and hopefully we don't hear as much of the NFC East.
That got a little old, I'm sure. After a little while, there was some interesting changes on your team as well. You come back with William Jackson off of Cincinnati, at the cornerback position. You lose Ronald Darby. You had a really good year for you guys there last year. How does William Jackson look? Because if with Kendall Fuller on the other side, if William Jackson sort of lives up to what he was in Cincinnati, or at least could be in Cincinnati, that could be pretty dynamic.
I think it's really cool to add a guy like that who's known to be a lockdown corner. He has very long arms, and he's really good at the line. And he also has that recovery speed in case the receiver does get an edge on him. He's smart, and so he knows how to, play to his strengths, but also play to his leverage as well. He knows where his help is and things like that. So if you have a guy like William Jackson who can lock down or contain a number one receiver for the opposite team, I think that only helps the other DBs. And you got Kendall, who's, I think, one of the more underrated corners in the game, the way he attacks balls. I think he had a lot of picks last year. He's a guy who has really good ball skills and has the ability to jump any route possible. So I think it also helps that we have such a great D-line. Those guys probably won't have to cover for too long, which, that helps our entire defense. So adding a guy like Will to the fold is going to be really good for our back end. And you marry that with our D-line. I'm excited to see what they do this year.
You guys, you talk about your defensive line. I mean, they're trained killers. You look at that defensive line, and everybody knows Chase Young and what he's been able to do. But the rest of them, Montez Sweat had a great year last year. Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, all high draft picks that come in there. They can literally control the game from that front four, can't they?
Oh, most definitely. And I think one thing I experienced my rookie year is going against the D-line that San Francisco had, and how much of a havoc it causes when you can't. It doesn't matter what kind of route you have on if you don't have enough time to throw it. And I think those guys bring that type of tenacity up front. They're great they're great playing the run. They're great, rushing the passer. And I think they have such a high motor, all of them. They don't quit on plays. You see some plays where Montez is running guys down, Chase is running guys down, even the interior guys, John Allen and Payne, they're doing their thing. So I think it starts up front. One thing I learned, in the league, is you win in the trenches. And when you got four guys like that on top of guys like Tim Settle and Matt Ioannidis coming back, you just got guys who are rolling in there, fresh bodies and attacking the offensive line. I think it makes it really easier for our back end and our linebackers to get some free runs to the alley and make some tackles. And I'm excited to see what they do in year two together. And I think they've all gotten better. It's fun competing against them every day.
Well, they better be good. You guys have all the semifinalists on your schedule this year. So Green Bay, Tampa, Buffalo, Kansas City, every single one of them on your schedule. So it is definitely going to be a tough year. One of the things that's come up that I find really intriguing about the league this year is what's going on with the vaccinations. Yeah. And the league is really putting the squeeze on the players that have not been vaccinated, right? They're going to put you through the ringer as far as testing. And, if you do test positive, you got to sit out a long period of time, all that sort of stuff. Washington is one of those teams that does not have a high percentage of its players vaccinated. Of course, Ron Rivera, coming off cancer treatments, is in a compromised position as far as all that. As you guys talk about it in the locker room now, what's going on? What is the debate?
Well, I think, first of all, I think our vaccination numbers are actually going up. We've had a few clinics here while camp's going on and guys are continue to be educated and learning what the benefits of vaccinations can be for themselves. But I think Coach Rivera does also a good job of leaving it to the players to make a decision that they feel is best for themselves. There's no pressure amongst our building to do it, but we also understand the importance of doing it. It could cost us wins. It could cost us having our most important players on the field when we need it. It can also cost us our money from what we found out, and no player wants to lose their money. So I think it's a balance between educating yourself if you're not vaccinated, and if you choose not to be vaccinated, then staying safe and keeping us all safe, but also just continue for our team and our leaders to continue to help these guys get the education that they need if they feel like they need more information or what have you. I think we have a good group of leaders in our room, and I think it's trending up for us, honestly, because at the end of the day, I don't think any of the guys that we have in our locker room want to be the guy singularly or affecting the team that negatively affects us all. And I don't think we have any selfish guys in here to the point that we want to, force us to lose games and lose money. And most importantly, we want to keep everybody healthy.
Yeah, it's not – I'm sure there's not a direct pressure, but
Right.
There's got to be from the other players as well, especially when the NFL put on the line that, hey, if you have to forfeit a game, nobody's getting paid.
Right.
I was just trying to picture what our locker room would have been like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, guys want to be respectful and they want to, understand it. And certainly there have been plenty of negative aspects of how people of color have been treated historically when it comes to medicine and vaccinations and all those things. But at the same time, it's a football team. And everybody's money's on the line and everybody's chance to get a ring's on the line. I just try to picture the dynamic inside that locker room as you guys come in and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've had a few cases here and there, but I think the benefit of we're getting some of that out the way now, hopefully. But also at the end of the day, I think we respect each other's decision to choose. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all grown men and we're going to do what's best for ourselves individually. But guys also understand that we're a team and an individual affects the team. And no guy wants to be in the way of the team. So I think it's that fine balance, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. I can't really speak to what that would be like until that happens. But obviously I don't think guys would be happy if we were forfeiting games and forfeiting our money because guys, are not necessarily be able to take care of themselves. But I think we're trending in the right direction, like I said, and hopefully it doesn't become an issue for us later down the line.
All right, I need one good Ryan Fitzpatrick story before you go out the door. Does he actually use the term YOLO? Does he, give me something on how your life is going to be different with this guy slinging it all over the field?
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard him say YOLO yet, but, if you get a favorable matchup or favorable coverage, he has no problem just, giving you the signal and you know what the signal means, and he's going to come to you. Like, I think he comes out there with that long beard, with the one chin strap, that old helmet. But he comes out there and he has fun, man. Like, he'll take a dead play and on a scramble drill, and he'll run 40 yards down the field to show that he can run. I think I just saw a video clip yesterday of him running over somebody. So I think it's going to be real cool to see what he does in the game, how we grow with him, how he grows as a leader for our team. And I'm interested to be a part of that Fitz magic, because my rookie year when we played the Dolphins and we were up 2 or 3 scores and he came in for Rosen and almost took us to overtime. So it was like, you just never know what's going to happen with Fitz, but I'm excited to be on the other side of it this year.
Well, I expect you to see you out there wearing some of those Hawaiian shirts here pretty soon, right alongside him. So, hey, I really enjoyed it. Always been a fan. You've been great so far in the National Football League. We're proud of you here in the great state of Ohio as well. And best of luck to you up there this year.
Thank you so much, Chris Collinsworth. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Terry, and thanks so much to all of you for spending just a little bit of time with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast if you would. If you want to give it a 5-star review, that would be fantastic. Allows me to pay a few more people around here with PFF. And we're going to see you next week with another great episode and a very, very interesting and prominent coach from one of the favorite NFL teams this year. I'll just leave it at that until next week. So until next week, we will talk soon.